I heard somebody say this. I think it was Billy Jean is marketing. I'm sure you're familiar with him, right?
I mean, one of Billy Jean's classes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Billy Jean said, yeah, I did the 16-week course too, right? So Billy Jean said, it's AI will not replace you. People using AI will replace you, right? And I thought that was the smartest way to put it, because that's the truth. The people utilizing this, the real estate agents or the lenders coming in here, or even me as a coach coming in here and going to you and saying, hey, I need you to set me up, get me more clients. It puts me at a level of somebody who is a real estate coach who might have 20 people in a big office making outbound calls to real estate agents trying to get them to commit to coaching, right? Like, I'm at that same level, except I'm using AI.
Kurz looking clean with his whole sales team. We ain't come to talk nonsense. It's all about the process and profits until we make $1 billion from deposits. He never slacked and teach him to take action. So far from whacking, never gave up his passion. Can't catch him lacking, damper down on his fashion. He forever stacking, running up all the cash. Real estate mastermind. Check out his book, he gave us the blueprint. Really can't hate the grind. Put in the work, no making excuses. Quitting's a waste of time. You made it this far, don't make your life useless. Pull up and taste the wine. He got the flavor, mixing the juice.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Freedom Achiever Podcast. My name is David Adam Kurz, your coach and CEO and founder of the Freedom Organization, a coaching and consulting company for real estate professionals and small businesses. Now, I am so excited that you're here, that you're listening to our podcast, that you're watching our podcast. However it is that you're checking it out right now, I need you to do some simple things. First of all, hit the subscribe button. Turns out 67% of the people that watch us on YouTube are not subscribed yet. Insanity. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, click the link, subscribe, watch the podcast, enjoy it. And then when you love it at the end, please like, comment, and share it with other people. We want to hear your comments. We want to know what you're thinking, and we want to have a fun time doing it. If you're listening on one of our podcasts, streaming, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Play, we're on Apple, we're everywhere. So just subscribe and get the feed once we go live every single time. This is one out of two of my podcasts. This is the Freedom Achiever Podcast. We also run the David Adam Kurz Show, very different format. In the Freedom Achiever Podcast, though, we bring what I consider to be freedom achievers, high-level individuals that are coming to the table to share their life experiences, their business experiences, let you know where they're at now, how they did it, so that you can walk away from this podcast with an enormous amount of information that could potentially make a shift in your life and business. Today, super excited to have Rick Janson on with me. Rick and I have known each other for some years now. I was actually on his podcast maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We were just talking about that. We've been in the industry similar amount of time. Rick's been doing real estate for 20 years. I've been doing it for 19 years. Rick is coaching. I'm coaching. Rick started something really cool with AI. I am nowhere near Web 3.0 yet. But dude, Rick, thank you for doing this with me.
My pleasure to be on here. And I love the format of the show. It's awesome. People should definitely like and subscribe.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So Rick, talk to me a little bit about, you, where you've been, what you've done, and how we led to appointmentpilot.com.
Yeah. So my journey in real estate, over 20 years, it's been a lot, right? So I got in, former attorney with an MBA in marketing. I thought, I'm too smart to hire a coach. I'll just do this on my own. I'm going to outflex everybody. And I didn't have a clue how to do the business. So it doesn't matter what experience you brought in before. When you know there are tried and proven methods, just humble yourself and do them, right? The only reason I failed in my early years, and I did lose 2 houses to foreclosure, was like I didn't just consistently apply myself in a proven direction. That's simple. And there's nothing new in real estate, right? Every list you see of 40 things to do with prospect and lead gen, like they're all the same 40 things for 20 years. And people are charging you for them and they're holding you accountable and whatnot. But over time, I finally hired some coaches. I finally wised up. I finally learned what you're supposed to learn to actually run a business and not just be a hobby realtor. But even after 20 years, like the common theme has, from everybody I've ever talked to, everybody I ever interviewed, and all the coaches I talked to, and all the team leaders, has been prospecting is the pain, right? Nobody ever became a realtor by watching an HGTV show that said cold call for 3 hours a day. and watching that show, me like, man, that's what I want to do with my life.
That would be the show that no one watches.
No one watches it because nobody wants to do it, right? So the pain of prospecting is what actually started the new company, Appointment Pilot.
So it's funny that we said that no one watches it. I have to take that back. I think a ton of people would watch it so they can laugh at how many hiccups, how many times we get told no when we're prospecting, and how many people curse us out and threaten to send us to the FCC and like, you name it. Chances are it would be the best show ever, but it would never motivate anybody to do that task, And you're right. It's funny, the one thing that any salesperson has to do, lollipops, bicycles, or real estate, is prospect. No clients, no money. Doesn't matter how much inventory you have, right?
No Tinder, no woman. You're prospecting.
Yeah. You're right. You're prospecting. So how does, let's just jump the gun and then we'll revert back. But how does appointmentpilot.com change that?
Right. So what we've done, and this actually applies to any industry, but let's focus in on real estate loan officers, but it works for financial planners, life insurance, personal injury attorneys, solar, roof, you name it. The high level of what this does is like, let's say you're online, right? And you're looking at roofing or Zillow or Realtor, whatever. When you go to the next website, there is something called a bid stream that is sent up to like an advertising clearinghouse, and Zillow or Realtor or whatever site you were on, mortgage company, Chase Bank, sends up a bid stream to bid on to being the ad on the next website. So these streams are happening billions of times a week. So we actually intercept 50 billion bid streams a week of high-end to determine what your intent is online, because people are paying to advertise to you. So we intercept all that ad money, and then we match it up with over 250 million people in our database. Their first name, last name, email, cell phone, address, income, FICO score, you name it. We match them up over 20 data points, not just by IP address, because you could be at Starbucks and that's not an accurate representation. If you wonder why your Facebook leads suck, whatever, right? So we take this high intent data. We know that David Adam Kurz is a high intent person looking at raw undeveloped land in his county, right? Like we know that. So now we API feed that, layman's terms, a little electric courier takes that data, sends it over to a custom audience in Facebook. And now we can have a very drilled down targeted list of people based off their intent, not based off their demographics, not in any way that violates fair housing. But rather than doing a 15-mile sweep of your location and pulling in everybody, we're pulling in people by their intent, what they're advertising to online, just the same way everybody else is advertising to them. But now you have this little hyper-focused group that you can advertise to with a message that resonates with them. They're a homeowner. They have a second mortgage. All this stuff about them. So put together a lead magnet to do a value exchange. And a value exchange, and I'll wrap up here shortly. Like if your marketing is good enough, people will pay you for it. And so what we want them to pay us with is their permission to text them and use an AI generated voice to call them. It's a new FCC rule as of February 8th. So when they give us that permission, when you give something of so much value to them that they actually say, yeah, I want to be reached out to by you, we have what are called voice pilots, which are AI generated voice, kind of on steroids though, and they can actually have a real live conversation with your prospect to book an appointment for you. So long story short, we take a high intent lead you never knew existed, convert them into somebody that we can actually legally call by FCC and TCPA rules, and then put it on an appointment on your calendar. So you literally, like, you give us money, you wake up, there's a 2:00 appointment. It's a beautiful system.
Languages for the voice.
12 languages.
12 languages. So that's really interesting. And does this voice automatically recognize the language that they're being spoken to in? So like, for instance, if I pick up the phone and I say, hola, ¿cómo estás? Like, does it automatically know that I'm speaking Spanish and go that direction?
We can build it out that way. Yeah. For the right market. Yeah. But we're already talking to agents in Italy. We're talking to agents in other countries. We have a couple of clients already in Canada where the FCC rules aren't as stringent. So they're actually doing outbound calls right now until Canada changes their law. but they can do outbound calls and reach out to people and introduce themselves and say, hey, well, how would you like to sign up for my email newsletter, or how would you like to be invited to a seminar I'm doing on first-time home buying or whatever. But they can really tailor that message down. And in one of our demo calls, I had a client, and he's like, hey, can I just talk to you about pre-World War I vintage cars? And our voice pilot picked up and had a conversation without skipping a beat.
What?
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm curious, like, do you have that recorded? I would love to hear that conversation.
I did have that recorded. I don't have available right now, but she was like, isn't it lovely how that, like, the craftsmanship and the styling and just the workmanship, like the fact that every car was handcrafted. What do you like most about them? And he just came back and she just fed off it. Like, what's your favorite brand? What was your favorite style and model? Like, oh my God, it was brilliant. And then you can circle back. I say she, but it can be a he, it can be a she, it can be your own voice. And you can say, hey, I'm AI David. I just wanted to give you a call, and you can reach out to your coaching students. You can reach out to your past clients and just be AI David and use your own voice in our system.
That is so interesting. So interesting. So I love your co-founder's bio, by the way. It completely kicks your bio's butt. It says tech stud, AI genius, husband, dad, all around good guy. That was it.
I wrote that for him.
I'm checking this out and I'm laughing because your bio's on there. It's this big bio, and then here's Todd's bio, one line with a few commas, and that's it. Period. End of story. That's insane. So I'm digging into this because as you're talking to me, I'm kind of playing around with it. And so text pilot and email pilot. So you have email automation and text automation.
That's all. That's both leveraging AI. Yep.
Okay. Now, fairy godmother pixel. Talk to me about that, because I fight with pixels all the time. So tell me about the fairy godmother pixel.
Yeah, we call it a fairy, and you can scroll down to a little picture of our fairy godmother, but we called it that because she just magically delivers everything you want to know about somebody. So the fairy, there she is. So the fairy godmother pixel, like if you spend a lot of time driving traffic to your website, and this is industry,
yes.
This doesn't matter what industry you're in. You're probably using a Facebook pixel, a Google pixel. You might have a follow-up boss pixel, whatever that might be, but you're capturing about 10 to 15% of the customers that visit your website if they're not clicking on a magnet or whatever. So what we said is like, hey, the reason it's inaccurate, it's incomplete. It's like, that's the Facebook email address you signed up with 10 years ago. That's like a little bit of your email. Maybe it's your cell phone, but maybe it's your office phone number, whatever. So what we do instead is we say, hey, not based off of your IP address, not based off of your Facebook profile, based off your whole internet profile, we're going to identify you when you land on that site. So we match people when they come to the site. We match them against a database of 250 million people, and we say we're going to tell you who was there, whether they registered or not. So we can capture over 40% of your website traffic that didn't click on anything, which is crazy. We then API feed that again over to a custom audience. So now this is someone who visited your website and had some buying intention, but their intention was interrupted. And so when their intention was interrupted, kid kicked him in the shin, a dog peeked on the carpet, groceries got delivered, the doorbell rang, whatever it was. Then they clicked off your site and they forgot about you. You're like, rats. Well, your retargeting message for that person is going to be different than someone who's never been on your site. So now you have this custom audience of people who have experienced you, they've seen you, they've experienced your website. You're going to have you're going to have a special offer to them. You're going to have a special opt-in. And then once they opt in, our voice pilots can kick in and close the deal for you.
So I'm looking at here, $280 million or 280 million people opted in.
So that we have to change that because that's a little different. So that was up, and I'm glad you caught that because I'll change the website later today. So 280 million people are people that are in this database, and they have in some way opted in to have their information in this database. We don't have them opted in to be called or texted. So that has to be by FCC and TCPA rules. That actually has to be one-on-one express written consent, which is why we go with that value exchange proposition. Another thing we do is sort of one-on-one videos at scale. And that's pretty fun. So there are multiple ways to engage them to get them to opt into the express written one-on-one consent.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Next question. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll just touch on that. People might be
I'm
like,
thinking about this.
oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm thinking about this for a minute because I talk to me again on how you get people to opt in. I feel like that's the hardest part because once they're opted in, you can put the AI to work, right? But until they opt in, the AI is at a loss, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me more about how we are successful or how you are successful to get people to achieve the process of actually opting in and saying, yes, please text me and call me.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And there are two ways we'd go about that. But ultimately, the value exchange proposition is the same. And this goes for any coach offering a lead magnet. You might have seen something online that's like 7 tips to boost your business in 2024 or free business plan behind this gate, right? There's a gate, it's called gated information. And if what's on the other side of this gate is important enough to you, you will give that person permission. You've been doing that on Facebook for 10 years and saying, hey, yes, you can text me. Yes, you can email me. Yes, you can have my phone number, my cell phone, my email in exchange for, I really want that free business plan worth $1,500 hypothetically, right? With the red slash.
Right.
So the marketing has to be good enough that they will pay you for it, not money, but that consent. So once we have this high intent data and it streams in live every single day, we give our onboarding clients the past 90 days of information too, to make sure they can really hit the ground running and be profitable as soon as possible. So what we do is we do 2 things. One is we're sending out customized email at scale, customized video email at scale. So rather than like a company like BombBomb where you're having to say, hi, David, and hold a little whiteboard where it says David, like, like send that out, but then you got to re-record that 200 times. We can actually record a video one time, upload the CSV of API in the list of new people, and we could send out 1,000 emails in 1 minute that are all customized saying, hi, David, hi, Rick, hi, Tom, hi, Sally, hi, Anita, hi, and reference their street, reference their city, and say, really want to offer you something of value. You've determined what that thing of value is that's unique to your company, but it's a home seller's guide, a home buyer's guide, a home valuation tool that's more accurate than Zestimate, whatever that might be. And you get them to go over to the site where the gate is. Same thing on social media. When we API feed them into a custom targeted audience, if you're trying to like establish a new Facebook audience, it's about $30 a day. But on retargeting, you can spend about $5, $10 a day, a very, very low budget. And now you're retargeting a very high intent audience with something of tremendous value. They're going to see that because they're already online. That's how we found them. They're already online with the intent of what you're offering for them. So now you say, okay, yeah, great. I was actually looking for 55 plus community homes. And here's my guide to buying a 55 plus community home. Just click here and check the box for the express written consent. And boom, now our AI texting, now our AI voice follows up with them. And you've been in the business long enough. It takes like 10 calls to actually make that first contact with even a bad Facebook lead, right? Yeah. And people are running social media ads all the time. So we're going to have a higher concentration of high intent people, much more targeted audience. And now when we're following up on them, instead of giving them to your agent or giving them to your ISA, who's going to call them 1, maybe 2 times, maybe call 5 to 15% of the leads, we're going to call 100% of those leads as many times as it takes until we actually have a conversation. And then our average conversations maybe 3 to 6 minutes, and they convert to appointments.
Incredible. All right. Now, is it done for you ads? Are you doing the ads? Are you setting up the retargeting and doing all that stuff? Or is that up to the consumer to do?
We set up the first ad as part of our setup fee. So everything's really just soup to nuts. Once you've gone through our 2-week of onboarding, we've got the data, we've got your first ad running. It's already API'd over to our calendar system. It drops onto your calendar. So literally once we start inputting the data, about 2 weeks into the onboarding process, you're just sitting back waiting for an appointment. Now, if you want to start experimenting, running different ads, running different ad sets, running different data sets, we can do that with you too. Those are like a little additional charges, but that first clean setup straight from lead that you don't know to appointment is all done for you.
This is pretty wild, man. And so And so once somebody logs in, it's done for you, ads is running, people are going to the website, they're getting this thing of value. In order to get this thing of value, they have to provide information and accept the terms. They accept the terms. Now they're getting they're all in with the AI. The AI is making the phone calls, actually having legitimate conversations or text messages, I'm sure, or emails with them. There's communication there. You just kind of take a step back until it's time to jump in, is what I'm hearing. So this is like having a sales team.
It's a big sales team. Yeah, it's a wampin sales team. It's a way a single person can compete against a team of 10. And it also, like, for the team of 10, it's like, I don't want to hire the ISA. I don't want to train the ISA, only to have them leave me 2 months later, and I've just wasted 2 weeks of my life trying to train this ISA up in the best scripts. And plus you hear the click, click, click from the Philippines, or you get some accent or whatever that might be, or maybe you're getting Canadian, and maybe someone spent $25 an hour for an American ISA, whatever that is. That's a lot of money, and there's only so much time in a day one human can talk. We could literally, not that we're going to, but we could literally make 1,000 calls a minute.
All right, let me wild question, completely different direction.
Yeah, we can talk about anything. It's the Freedom Network.
Yeah, this leads me to the continuous conversation that I keep having about AI replacing a lot of jobs. There's a lot of truth to that. And the winners are going to be the people who use AI as a tool to progress. Because, I was listening to somebody else. He's a master marketer. Did a course with him, super cool dude. And he said it himself, using AI, he didn't fire anyone. He ended up shifting everyone to a different position, but he could have easily fired a bunch of people because the AI is doing so much for them in the background. And so how much longer, do people, this is real. People need to actually sit down and think about what they're doing and if they can be replaced.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the number of jobs that can be fully replaced by AI are very small.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes. But ISA is definitely one of them.
But
right?
Cold calling, inbound calls. We can do an inbound call center all day long today with no consent because it's inbound. So we could replace we could have an entire call center set up for somebody answering from a knowledge base. And then when it gets stumped, say, hey, let me take a note of that. Are there any other questions, or should I live transfer you over to an agent? And so we can pre-screen and answer 75% of the calls, take the load off the call center, and then live transfer to a tier 2 person. But all the tier 1 people can be done away with for sure. So there are some jobs that this can replace, but for the realtor, for the loan officer, for the life insurance person, like, your real job is in consulting and counseling and being an emotional support animal and doing all the other things for your client that AI can't do.
Therapist, psychologist, counselor. Yeah. Like, I've always said that. People are like, oh my God, agents are going to get replaced. I go, no, we're not. Like, real estate agents will not get replaced, but real estate assistants need to be careful, right?
Well, and it's the real estate assistant that doesn't want to learn how to do this. So I teach AI, right? So my company, Power AI Gent, Power Agent Academy teaches people how to leverage AI to do their jobs better, faster, cheaper, so you can source and close more deals. But that's centered more around organic content creation, efficient and on point at scale. So, being on TikTok is great.
So marketing companies are in trouble unless they start using AI.
Well, marketing companies that aren't using AI are doing their clients a disservice anymore. They really are. CPAs that aren't using AI. There are a lot of professions right now. Chief operating officer, chief marketing officer. All of those jobs can be fractional now, because one of the companies that I work at has built out tools to do all their jobs better, faster, cheaper. Now, and created all the structures like SWOT analysis, TOES analysis, PESTEL analysis, soft skills development, tools on how to have a difficult conversation with an employee. We've got all those custom GPTs built out already. So anytime you need to do your job, you could go to one of these tools and say, okay, well, we haven't done a SWOT analysis before because it's a pain in the butt and I don't know how to do it. But now we draw on the authorship of like 5 different authors that have solved this problem before and we say, okay, let's apply that knowledge as if we just read 5 books in the past 5 minutes. And let's apply all that knowledge to my current situation and solve my problem at speed, better, faster, cheaper than I could have done on my own. And now let me bring my personal intelligence, my own human intelligence to bear on that, my experience, and flush it out. But
Yeah.
you could, it's wild. Like when we do full day seminars for companies, like how fast we can take them through their annual planning, monthly, quarterly planning, and then give them playbooks to act against that, so they actually achieve their KPIs, their key performance indicators. It's wild to watch them walk out of that and just be like, we just got like a month's worth of planning done, and we actually know how to act on it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a tremendous opportunity that you're providing for a lot of people who don't really understand the access to the AI, especially with the coaching side of it and showing people how to leverage AI so that they can do more deals. I think that's a big win. I think if you're, I heard somebody say this. I think it was Billy Jean is marketing. I'm sure you're familiar with him, right?
I mean, one of Billy Jean's classes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Billy Jean said, yeah, I did the 16-week course too, right? So Billy Jean said, it's AI will not replace you. People using AI will replace you, right? And I thought that was the smartest way to put it, because that's the truth. The people utilizing this, the real estate agents or the lenders coming in here, or even me as a coach, coming in here and going to you and saying, hey, I need you to set me up, get me more clients. It puts me at a level of somebody who is a real estate coach who might have 20 people in a big office making outbound calls to real estate agents trying to get them to commit to coaching, right? Like, I'm at that same level, except I'm using AI.
100%. Yeah. And so I started, when I started down this path, it was to solve my own personal pain point, right? I didn't have 2 to 3 hours a day to prospect, nor did I want to, even if I did have it. And
Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to.
And the pain point for the broker owner, the team leader, was no one's following up on the leads I'm paying for. So it's just money out the door to make them feel good, to make me feel good, like I'm actually doing something with the split they pay me, but no one's working on it. So when, if you can solve someone else's pain point and then explain it clearly enough, it creates a market. And so I started looking, I'm like, well, what's my pain point? Let's just solve the problem. And like you said, competing against other people with big staff, if you can now do that at scale, like I started thinking, like, what do big people do? What do the leaders in the industry do? Like you said, they have a 20-person call team. Like, well, I can't afford that. So how can I compete against that? The only way to compete against that is with AI. And AI is essentially, I mean, for what you're paying for, it's free.
So with this particular voice, text, email, it can be customized for anything, right? Like if I'm a title agent, I can get more realtors to use my title company. If I am a coach, I can get more people to sign up for my coaching platform. If I am a realtor, I can get more buyers and sellers, right? Like we all want more sellers, obviously, right? And so, if I'm a lender, I can communicate with more agents to use my lending company. Like it's customizable enough to be able to do it at that level, at that.
Everything you said and more: personal injury attorney, life insurance, landscaper, roofer, solar, windows. I mean, you name it. It's that customizable.
How does it work with the scripts, right? Like, so I sell a very particular type of coaching, right? I coach a particular type of client. And so how does it know what I want to say? Like, how does it know to pitch my program?
So we create what are called voice pilots. And so that pilot is tasked on one thing, one objective. And so when we built out the prompt back end for that pilot to guide the pilot to achieve, to go on that flight path, to hit the objective, right? That's the jet hitting the calendar with the little laser. So we're like, how do we get there? Well, the pilot needs a flight path. It needs instructions. The pilot needs to know where it's going. So we build out a prompt set specifically around whatever your objective is. And that's part of our onboarding process.
And then so you build around my script, my thought process, my product. Everything is mine. You build it out. And now the AI speaks my language.
It speaks your language, but if someone gets it off track, it has the freedom and flexibility to go there with them and then circle back and get back on track.
That's pretty wild, man.
It's insane.
That's pretty
And if there's anything if there's anything that you want said verbatim, we can have it say it verbatim. If you say, hey, speak in this general box, it'll stay within the box. And then when someone jumps outside the box, it'll be like, haha, that was funny. Let me talk about that for a little while and then come back in and bring you back home.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, listen, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm spending a lot of quiet moments. And if you actually follow my podcast, I never have quiet moments. Okay. I can speak all freaking day, but this is like blowing my mind right now because I know it exists and I know it's out there, but the ability to attain it didn't seem so plausible as it does right now for as many businesses, right? So a lot of real estate professionals are seeing AI implemented in their CRMs, and the AI does an okay job. You've got companies like YLopo that have Raya and Raya Voice. They do a great job. But again, that's very specific to that real estate industry and that person. You're saying, I can do this for my coaching business. I can do this for my title business. I can do this for my real estate business. You're saying that I can have 3 setups, like rocking and rolling, and I could be closing and setting appointments all day long. Now, the AI, you mentioned that it's obviously it's called appointment pilot, right? So the goal is for the AI to set a time for me to communicate with that person. Closing is up to me. Can the AI be set up to close people on a deal and automatically email them a link for payment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if somebody's ready to buy, the cool thing about this conversation is they're recorded, and we do reference that in the course of the conversation. But when you get that appointment on your calendar, you're going to get that little link to the 6-minute conversation it just had. Out of that conversation, it's also auto-populating your CRM. If somebody said some specific keywords, it's just automatically dropping that in whatever CRM you have. And we can API and Zapier into anybody that accepts Zapier. So right out of that conversation, first of all, your CRM is being populated. But now if somebody says, well, shoot, I don't need to book a time for Wednesday. I just want to sign up already. Like, what's the point of this call? Is to get me to close. I just want to close. Like, well, great. Let me send you the link right now. Right. And it can be programmed to just send the sign up link straight to that person. Now, in a lot of coaching programs, there's a lot more nuance to the close, right? And you and I both, we've been on a lot of closing calls, and a lot of setters set the call. The coach gets on there, provides the free advice, takes them from a positive present to a negative present to a negative future to a positive future. You bring them on the cycle, and you get them into the deal, and you let them make the decision on their own. That's a little bit more nuanced than we'd like to try to challenge our pilots to be, but it's not saying that we couldn't.
That's pretty amazing because look, there's some parts of my program. For instance, I have the Freedom Achiever Academy, which is an online platform for $249 a month. Maybe it's worth teaching the AI how to have that conversation and close that, because I don't need to really get on a phone call and sell $249 a month. Now, if you're going to sign up for my higher ticket items, then yes, I need to get on the phone and have that conversation because those are more customizable. But that's pretty awesome. I mean, this is mind blowing. Let's talk about speed now, because I know that I've heard some of these AI calls and it's like, hello. And then it's like quiet. And it goes, hello, Rick. Right. So, and you're like, yes, how can I help you? And then it's quiet. Yes, you inquired. Right. So like, talk to me about speed with this.
Yeah. So there are a lot of companies out there right now. If you ever see 11 cents a minute, that's all coming from the same place. It's all white labeled, reoffering one other technology. And I'm not going to mention them by name, but we set out to build a proprietary tech that could beat theirs. And we also didn't want to charge for ring time and call time. We only wanted to charge for talk time, because you can call so many people right away, right? So charging for ring time and call time just seemed to make as a ripoff to the consumer, because they're not getting anything. So we set out to build a better voice tech. We set out to get a better pricing model. Getting to the voice, that 11 cents a minute white label company as well is also, we think, like the latency, which is that gap, is a little too big and hard to program out. And the range of voices and programming was just too clunky and bulky for us. So we built something that we could really streamline as far as a prompt generation standpoint, so that you can have an excited voice, you can have a mellow voice, you can have a little bit, you can really narrow that gap as tight as you want it to be. or as long as you want it to be. Sometimes you want a little bit longer gap because someone might be thinking and you don't want to interrupt them. So you have to like really kind of gauge, like, do I want that to be nanoseconds or a second or 2 seconds? Like, you don't want the gap to make it seem artificial, but you also want it to be so quick that it appears artificial. You got to walk that fine line. But we have 20 voices right out of the gate, but we can do a Canadian accent, a Southern accent, an Eastern accent, Midwestern accent, male or female. You can have an Australian, French woman, whatever you want representing your company. We can program that in, and it's you. You're ready to rock and roll.
You got a New York Italian on there or what, man?
We can do New York Italian. We just need like 3 to 4 minutes of a voice, and we can clone it and make it yours and put it in there. As long as you have a license to the voice, we can use it.
Oh man, that's awesome. I can see how that call goes. Hey, buy the damn coaching.
I'll make it worth your while.
I don't know why we're talking. I love it. I don't know why we're talking anymore. Get it done, you know? Dude, this is really great information, man. I honestly don't know enough about the program, so I'm gonna learn about it to like say it's great. But what I will say is, everyone listening, this is absolutely worth looking into, right? Like, I want to be able to say, like, go to appointmentpilot.com, set an appointment, talk to these guys, see how it works. I mean, look, at the end of the day, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, you gain a few more clients, you get some appointments, you know, you sell some more of your product, whether it be housing or lending or whatever the case is. I think it's an incredible opportunity, man. I'm very impressed by this. Rick, I'm really impressed.
I see that, and I'm flattered. You know, for everybody that's watching this, David didn't have a clue what we were going to be talking about today. So, and he's saying that, I take that as very genuine and high praise from someone who's very, very well regarded in the industry and closed a ton of deals, led some big teams, some big organizations. So I'm very grateful for that endorsement. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I'm super stoked for you. I'm glad that this is something that you've put together. I think it's definitely something that needs to be really pushed out to the community. I'm rooting for you. I think you and I are going to have a conversation about what we're doing and see how we can implement it somehow. You
Absolutely.
know, I mean,
another fun thing about that too is we're exclusive per city. So if somebody gets Dallas, they've got all of Dallas, and you're the only person there. We don't cross sell. We don't duplicate. We're not here to nuance down to the zip code and milk you for 200 out of 2,000 people. We're like, let's just give the whole city to someone and give somebody a shot to succeed. And let's make this possible for real estate agents who are wanting to hustle and do their job well once they have a client, and focus on the skills of serving somebody, focus on the skills of, helping them with what they actually hired you for, which is like the $200,000, $1 million, $10 million house. Like, that's a huge deal to them, no matter who it is. Yeah. It's always about 35% of their gross monthly income. So focus on being the best realtor, title person, coach you can be. Don't spend so much of your time learning how to prospect. That is not what you wanted to do, or you would be a professional ISA.
Right. Man, dude, I got to thank you very much for coming on the show and really bringing this out to the public and to my audience. I think, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I try to bring freedom achievers to the table, and the name of our company is the Freedom Organization. Our entire mission is to impact the lives and businesses of over 1 million people. And I feel like we're going to impact some people today. I feel like some people are listening to this right now going, okay, wait a minute. I can potentially have a sales team without having a legit sales team, without the overhead of an office, without the overhead of training, without the overhead of systems, without the overhead of all the crazy tools that every salesperson needs. And I feel like this properly put into some businesses and people really embracing it, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take the owners of those businesses embracing it. It could change the direction that people go with this. I think it's incredible. I mean, I got 5 people on the top of my head right now that I can think of that probably should have a conversation with you. It's crazy.
Well, I really appreciate that, David. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for doing the show with me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, I usually promote my website and everything at the end of the show, but if you're watching, you could read it in the feed. Listen, appointmentpilot.com. Check out Rick. Rick, like I said in the beginning of the show, Rick and I have known each other for a few years. I was very blessed to be on your podcast. Now you're on mine, and I appreciate that. And it's been an incredible conversation because, typically we bring people to the table. Everybody's doing something different. This is different, and this is helping people leverage. We always talk about how can I grow? Growth comes through leverage, right? And so we know that people get to a glass ceiling. They don't know what to do next. What they really need is more clients, and more clients means you need more people selling. This kind of helps get in between that and say, I'm going to implement this AI technology to get us more appointments so that the people that I have now can go on more appointments.
It's all about taking care of people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. Thanks a lot for really implementing this. Thanks for putting it out there. Thank you for speaking to my audience. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, thank you, David, and to your audience. Nice to meet you. Thank you. And yeah, we'd just love to serve you at the highest possible level so you can go forward and repay that and serve your clients at a higher possible level. So thank you, David. Appreciate all you're doing with the Freedom Network and with your coaching. And yeah, God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. Same to you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far on the show, it means that you actually enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this show, we want you to subscribe to the show. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. We want this show to get out there. We want more people to know how to leverage themselves and how to grow their businesses. We are put on this planet to embrace our human brothers and sisters and help them rise up. And this is one of those things that if you share with the world, potentially you're going to be helping somebody rise up in their business. You can help somebody feed their family. You can help somebody clothe their family. Like, these are the things necessary to bring the number one tool we're all chasing: money. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.